Too many people are saying that Conor McGregor is going to win this fight. It's not going to happen in this video. I'll tell you exactly why. Just so you know, I am talking about Max Holloway, Conor McGregor, UFC 329 main event goes down in just a couple of days. I have Max Holloway, I'll tell you right now, and if you stay to watch this video, I think I can make you agree with me whether you're thinking Conor right now or Holloway. I think majority of people still are predicting Max Holloway, but I've seen way too many people favoring Conor McGregor to win this matchup. I know what Conor McGregor's done in the sport. I know he's done great things. You know, he's changed UFC forever, but this fight is not going to be close. I don't, you know, Conor keeps saying Max not going to lay a glove on him. I'm not sure if Conor's going to lay a glove on Max. That's a bit of an exaggeration. I mean, Conor McGregor is going to hit him, but from the opening bell, Max Holloway is going to have an advantage, and it's going to lead to the finish. Here's exactly why. First of all, we got to look at the styles of these two fighters, starting with Conor McGregor. So, obviously, we don't know how Conor McGregor is going to look. You know, he's been out for 5 years, so something could completely change. You know, who knows? He might be a wrestler now. You know, who really knows what his game plan is going into this fight? I doubt he is a wrestler now. He may utilize it a little bit. We'll get to that in just a minute, but Conor McGregor, last time we saw him in the cage, you know, he was a fast counter striker with a lot of power and, you know, wide arsenal of techniques, you know, spinning back kicks, oblique leg kicks, you know, slick and unpredictable combinations, very unorthodox hook kicks up top, you know, ducking roundhouses to the head, 1-2 roundhouse front kick, you know. It was always so unpredictable with Conor. That's what made him so exciting. So that's where he was last time we saw him fight. Like I said, we could see a completely different Conor McGregor. Who knows? He could be better. Highly unlikely. I'll get to that in a minute too. Or he could be worse, which is what I'm making, or I'm sure a lot of you are as well. And then on the other side, Max Holloway, who, you know, doesn't have that 5-year layoff. That's going to be his biggest advantage, obviously. He's faster than Conor. I think he's got more power than Conor McGregor. You know, Conor McGregor's not fought in 5 years. I know that's crazy to say. Conor McGregor, one of the most powerful pound-for-pound strikers in UFC history, but I'm interested to see how Max Holloway does in this welterweight division. You know, based on his move from featherweight to lightweight, I think he did good in that move. You know, I think Max Holloway, when he made the shift to lightweight, he was always a big featherweight. You know, most featherweights are like somewhere between 5'5" and 5'8", somewhere around that range. Max Holloway's 5'11". He does have the 2-inch height advantage on McGregor, although McGregor has a 4 or 5-inch reach advantage, which could be a good advantage, especially in this fight, but Max Holloway, he's always been a volume striker. You know, he's going to continue to come forward. He's fast. He has power, very underrated power. I know he doesn't have the KO highlights like McGregor has, but when he overwhelms you, he's absolutely able to turn it up and get you out of there. And he does have a couple cold KOs, you know. Korean Zombie, one example, one of my favorite finishes of Max Holloway. I love watching that fight in slow motion. I like the Korean Zombie, but Max Holloway retired that, man. He's a legend, so Max Holloway also cold KO Justin Gaethje, you know. Featherweight Max Holloway never had that power. That would have never happened. He also sat down Dustin Poirier a few times in their fight, their most recent fight. And I know Poirier, you know, it wasn't peak Poirier, it wasn't prime Poirier, but Poirier was only 35, 36 years old. It's not like that's Anderson Silva at 40, you know. Dustin Poirier was still absolutely in fighting shape, not even a year before he had contended for the title. So I think a lot of people take away from that Max Holloway wins. That's one of Holloway's best wins. And that with Holloway being a former champion, you know, he reigned over the featherweight division for years. So we have a counter striker who relies on power and precision, and Conor McGregor, and then a volume striker whose main thing is speed. You know, he mixes up the kicks, and he's going to look to come forward and overwhelm Conor McGregor without getting hit. And easier said than done. Conor McGregor, like I say, is a good counter striker. He'll sit back, snipe you. You know, he can hit you from odd angles. He can generate power from just about anywhere. But Max Holloway, if this fight stays on the feet, he has the advantage. You know, Conor McGregor has not fought in 5 years, and you know, if he had taken that 5 years to fully recover his leg, you know, get his mind right, get his body right, been training for 5 years, and that'd be a different story, but it's not like this is a great layoff. I mean, what has McGregor done in those 5 years? He's partied, he's drank, he's gotten in several legal troubles. It's nothing but drama for Conor McGregor ever since he last stepped in the octagon 5 years ago. 5 years is a long layoff. I mean, GSP didn't even have that long a layoff. I mean, people forgot about GSP at that point. Not in the sense that he's not a great fighter, but like no one ever predicted he'd come back. Of course, Conor McGregor with a name, he's always been a topic of discussion, probably always will be, no matter how long he's retired or how long of a layoff he has. But that's a crazy long layoff. That was the first UFC fight I've ever watched, and I didn't start making content until long after that. But Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3 was the first fight I ever paid attention to and remember watching. That's how significant this man is. But 5 years? I mean, what has Holloway done in those 5 years? Everything. He's fought 10 times. He's fought Oliveira. He's beat Poirier. He's beat Gaethje. He's beat who else has he beat? Arnold Allen, Korean Zombie. He's lost to Tupturo. He had the trilogy with Volkanovski in that time. I'm pretty sure the Calvin Kattar win. No, I take that back. Calvin Kattar was a few weeks before Conor's last fight, but he did have the Yair Rodriguez win after the Conor McGregor fight. I mean, Max Holloway never stopped fighting. He's never taken a layoff. He's fought at least once a year, most years twice. So, Max Holloway, in those 5 years, not only has he been fighting actively, been training, he always stays in shape, unlike Conor McGregor, who hasn't started training since this fight was announced a couple months ago. I mean, he had the Chandler training camp, but it's not like outside of when he has a fight coming up, he's been training. Max Holloway absolutely has, and it's the guys he's fought in those 5 years. He's been at the top of his division in both featherweight and lightweight in those 5 years. He's fought multiple champions. Right now, he is ranked inside the top 5 in the lightweight division last time I checked. And Conor McGregor, this is a bad return fight for him. He's going to get Max Holloway. He's going to push the pace. Conor McGregor has cardio issues. I doubt it's getting better now that he's getting older. He's now 38 years old, something like that. He might be 37, I'm not sure. McGregor has, Holloway's younger, not by much, but he is about 4 years younger. He's taller. McGregor does have the reach, but Max Holloway, he fights lengthy. You think he's longer than he is because he's great. He's got great head movement. He's very durable. I think a lot of people are starting to say Max Holloway isn't durable. Like, why? Because he lost to Ilia Topuria by knockout? That's his only KO loss. You can't get knocked out one time and all of a sudden your chin's gone. I understand it might not be what it used to be, but when you fight 30 times in the UFC and you're fighting against the guys that Max has, he's fought numerous power strikers. He's fought numerous champions. He's fought the best of the best. He's got one of the best resumes in the sport. You're going to lose. You're going to get knocked out. Unless you're John Jones or Khabib Nurmagomedov, who didn't even stay in the UFC that long, you're going to lose. You're going to get knocked out. That's expected. I don't think his chin is bad. I am interested to see how it does at 170. I think 170 is a little big for Max. I think he found a home at 155. I think 155 was peak. Holloway, I think the fight against Justin Gaethje is one of the best performances of his career outside of Calvin Kattar, but Justin Gaethje and Calvin Kattar are two completely different fighters on completely different levels. Calvin Kattar's never thought of contending for a championship, and Justin Gaethje's the current champion. So, and here's another thing I asked you, and I think this will definitely change your mind too, just the thought of this. Do you think that 38-year-old McGregor, whatever it is, it's something around there, off a 5-year layoff that wasn't even completely used to train, recover, get his mind right, up until lately hasn't even trained, is going to give Max more problems than 35-year-old Poirier, who contended for a title less than a year before that fight? Or not less than a year, but may have been right around a year before that fight. No, it's not. Do you think that 38 McGregor is going to give Holloway more problems than Justin Gaethje 2 years ago, who's now the undisputed UFC lightweight champion, just beat Ilia Topuria? No, it's not. There's a very, very small category of strikers, Ilia Topuria included in that list, that can outstrike Max Holloway. Of course, Oliveira beat him. Of course, he dominated him, but he's got a wrestler, and I'm about to get to that. Conor McGregor has said in this fight week, he has said in interviews that he will utilize his wrestling against Max Holloway. Now, do I think he's going to spam takedowns? I do not. Do I think he's going to shoot? Absolutely. I predict a couple of Conor McGregor shot attempts, probably around 2 or 3. But especially if Holloway hurts him at some point in this fight, which is a very possible and probably likely scenario, Can he get the takedown against Max Holloway? Absolutely. You know, Conor McGregor, not a strong wrestler by any means. You know, he is a striker, and he always has been since he stepped foot into the octagon. You know, wrestling and grappling's been his weakness, but Max Holloway, he's got a decent defensive wrestling, I guess, but can Conor get him down? Absolutely, especially if he sets it up right. But what's he really going to do when he gets there? You know, Max Holloway is one of the best fighters ever at just standing back up. You know, and of course, like I said, he couldn't do that against Oliveira, but not only does Conor not have the submission game for Oliveira, so Conor's not going to submit Max Holloway. Oliveira couldn't do it, and this fight went down not even a year ago. Oliveira couldn't do it in a 5-round fight, and he attempted multiple times. Max Holloway defended every submission Oliveira threw at him, and Oliveira is the king of submissions. You know, one of the best grapplers and jiu-jitsu fighters in the UFC. So Conor McGregor, who has one submission on his record, which came before he even stepped foot in the UFC, this happened about 15 years ago, is not going to submit Max Holloway, especially off a 5-year layoff. It's not reality. You know, 1% chance he submits Max Holloway. Like, it's just not going to happen. Could he ground and pound him for a short time? But Conor McGregor, not only do I think he doesn't have the gas tank, but he's just going to get bored. That's who he is. You know, he's a striker. He's never been the offensive wrestler, so he may say he's going to mix in the takedowns, but I don't think he is to that extent. Like I said, he may shoot a couple times, he may get it, but what's he really going to do when he gets there? You know, the most he's going to do is tire himself out. Conor McGregor doesn't have the gas tank to strike for 5 rounds. This is a 5-round fight against one of the most, you know, a volume striker who's going to push the pace on him every single round, only get better as the fight goes on. Unless McGregor knocks him out in the first 2 rounds, all hope is lost. And Max Holloway, with the chin he has, and, you know, Conor McGregor coming off a 5-year layoff, I don't think he's going to look the same. The power's not going to be the same. Only thing I am worried about for Holloway is how he's going to do his 170. You know, this is 170 debut. We don't know if he's going to get worse, if he's going to get better. You know, he could be slower, which would obviously make him worse. That happens a lot of times when fighters move up. His power could go up with him. You know, he's going to put on new muscle mass, so we'll see. Like I said, if he treats it like he did the move to 155 the second time, not Poirier, like 8 years ago. I'm talking about when he finally made the move to 155. He's fought there 3 times in his last 4 fights. I'm talking about the Gaethje 300 fight. If he treats this move up like he did then, I think he's only going to get better. I think his power is going to go up with him. I think it did when he went to lightweight. So we'll see. Do I want to say Conor McGregor can get it done? I really do. You know, Max Holloway is my second favorite fighter in UFC history, just behind Charles Oliveira. But I would even root for Conor against Charles Oliveira. You know, I mean, it's just going to be so entertaining if Conor McGregor can pull it off. It's going to completely change the UFC. The UFC world and MMA world is going to go insane, especially if he does it with a knockout or some kind of highlight reel, but I just don't think it's reality. You know, he has a very, very short window to finish Max Holloway. Max Holloway knows McGregor. He knows his game. He's been in there before. Max Holloway's not going to be backed up and out-wrestled like he was 13 years ago. This is a completely different Max Holloway. And I mean, Conor McGregor's gotten better too. Look what he's done since then, but McGregor off a 5-year layoff, taking on a top 5 lightweight in the world who has just beat Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier in the last 2 years and fought against the best of the best in the featherweight and lightweight division since McGregor's been partying in legal troubles. You know, it's not even like he's taking this time to train and prepare, which is what he should have done. It's not going to happen. A lot of people think it is, but I'm here to tell you it's not. If I haven't convinced you otherwise, I don't know who can, but we'll see on Saturday night. Am I still rooting for McGregor? Absolutely. If he does win, I'll eat my words. I'll make a whole separate video on it. You'd never have to listen to me again, but it's not going to happen. Give me Max Holloway. 3rd round TKO. That's my prediction. Maybe a little sooner, you know. I would say it goes longer, but I don't think Conor McGregor's going to be able to stay in there that long. And, you know, once he sees that Holloway can take his best shot, it's not going to last much longer. I think Holloway starts early. He only picks it up as the fight goes on. Give me a 3rd round TKO for Holloway, maybe 4th. I don't think he goes to a 5th, and most definitely does not go to a decision with these guys. So there it is, guys. My UFC 29 main event prediction and breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to like the video. If I can and I remember, I'll be sure to add some end screens to this video, so check out whatever videos you're seeing on the screen right now. If you're seeing any, I've had a little trouble adding end screens to my video lately. I'm not sure why, but I will try and figure that out. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Agree with me, disagree, I don't care. I'm happy to debate any of you in the comments. I love debating UFC and fights and anything MMA in general. It's probably my favorite thing to do. So leave a comment, whether it's good or bad. I don't care. I'll debate you on this fight. I'll do whatever you guys want to do. I'll talk whatever you guys want to talk about. So let me know what kind of videos you guys would like to see in the near future. What's your prediction for the matchup? How do you see the fight going? I see Max Holloway starting early, only picking up as it goes. McGregor may shoot a time or two. He may get it, but he's not going to be able to do much with it. I think Max Holloway stands right up. I don't think he can hold him like he was able to years ago. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. Subscribe for more.